Shout out to our recent patron supporter, Victoria. Your support means the world to me. I absolutely appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Halloween Ends, originally titled Halloween Dies, is the final chapter in David Gordon Green's modern trilogy. The first film explores overcoming 40 years of trauma, confronting the very shape that haunted Laurie Strode's life. The second examined the dangers of mob mentality and how fear can rot an entire town from the inside out. But Halloween Ends asks a different question. What if evil isn't just a man in a mask? What if it's something transferable, contagious, like a virus? After a 1-year delay due to the pandemic, the story jumps forward 4 years into the future. Haddonfield has tried to move on. With a $33 million budget, the film grossed roughly $105 million worldwide, making it the lowest earning entry in the trilogy. I remember waiting for this movie. I was excited. The final battle was coming. Laurie Strode was finally going to destroy her boogeyman, and I could not wait. So, does Halloween Ends deliver a satisfying conclusion to the Laurie Strode versus Michael Myers saga? Or does it collapse under its own ambition, begging to be put out of its misery? Let's dive in to the deep cut. Our movie opens on Halloween night, 1 year after the events of Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. But instead of picking up with Michael Myers or Laurie Strode, we follow someone new. Corey Cunningham, played by Rowan Campbell. He's on his way to a babysitting gig. Wait a minute. Babysitting in Haddonfield on Halloween night? Yeah, that already feels like a death sentence in this town. Corey arrives at the Allen household and is greeted by Mrs. Teresa Allen.
Corey, you're a lifesaver.
Played by Candace Rose. Her and her husband, Mr. Allen, played by Jack William Marshall, are headed out to a Halloween business party. And let's just hope it's not hosted by Dr. Mathis. The last thing we need is another Halloween orgy incident. They've hired Corey last minute to watch their son, Jeremy, played by Jackson Goldenberg. Mrs. Allen calls out for Jeremy, and he's nowhere to be seen.
Jeremy, the sitter's here!
Until we get a little crotch goblin on the shoulder moment. Mrs. Allen then pulls Corey to the side to talk about last year's massacre, about how Michael Myers tore through Haddonfield, about how Jeremy has been having nightmares, even wetting the bed. And honestly, that's fair. Michael practically slaughtered half the town, and if I was in that situation, I'd be pissing the bed as well. Corey, being the only adult in the room apparently, tries to ask a few basic questions.
I could read him a story or something. Does he have a favorite book?
Then once he goes to bed...
And she just ignores him. Lady, he's watching your kid on the most dangerous night of the year in this town. Answer the damn questions. Corey and Jeremy settle in to watch an absolute cinematic classic. A nice little meta nod to the original architect of Halloween. At one point, Corey offers to turn the movie off because it might be too scary.
Look, man, we can shut it off if you're scared of monsters.
No.
And Jeremy immediately calls him out.
You're scared because you know Michael Myers is...
First of all, bold strategy from a child who weighs about roughly 60 pounds, soaking wet.
Michael Myers kills babysitters, not kids.
And should someone explain to Jeremy what happened to the last couple of kids who crossed paths with Michael Myers? Buddy, you're not safe either. Corey then decides the movie is too inappropriate for kids.
Okay, that's actually pretty disgusting and probably not appropriate for kids.
Really? You don't say. We've already watched a man's chest cavity open up and a man's arms getting bitten off. But now you want to draw the line at Norris's head detaching and crawling away? Sir, your timing is atrocious. Maybe rethink the babysitting career and quite possibly never having kids. Corey suggests they play hide and seek instead. Jeremy thinks that's lame. I agree. He'd rather keep watching one of the greatest horror films ever made.
I want to watch this movie.
Honestly, I don't blame him. But that attitude...
And I don't really feel like pretending to be best friends with an ugly ass boy babysitter.
It's gonna need some readjusting. Corey heads into the kitchen to help himself to some chocolate milk. Then he hears a loud noise. Jeremy is suddenly gone. The front door is wide open. Now we're in panic mode. Corey starts searching the house frantically, and that's when he notices something. The kitchen knife is missing. For a split second, the movie wants you to think, is Michael Myers back to his wicked shenanigans? Corey hears Jeremy screaming from upstairs. He spots the missing knife lying on the staircase and picks it up for protection. He climbs the stairs slowly and follows the cries into the attic. The door slams shut, locking from the outside. And then we realize this isn't Michael Myers at all. A little piss-stained menace set the whole thing up. Jeremy's parents pull into the driveway. And as the parents enter the house, Corey panics. He kicks the door open, the door swings out, and strikes Jeremy in the face. See you next fall, Jeremy. Cue the title card. Halloween ends. This time, the credits burn in blue. Very reminiscent of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. And in hindsight, that choice makes a lot of sense. Both David Gordon Green and Jamie Lee Curtis went on record before release, saying this would be the most divisive entry in the trilogy, much like Season of the Witch was back in the day. And oh boy, did that statement age perfectly. Because this movie, it splits the fan base right down the middle. The opening credits feature a series of jack-o'-lanterns bursting through one another like some kind of deranged Russian nesting doll. Pumpkin inside pumpkin inside pumpkin. Until finally an uncarved pumpkin splits open, revealing its guts like the dirty little pumpkin it is. Something new is being born, and something familiar is being hollowed out. Then we jump forward again, 3 years later, and the official narrative begins. We see scenes from the original Halloween intercut with moments from Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills as Laurie writes her memoir. Now this is not the Laurie Strode I expected to see. She's baking, she's healing, she's trying to move forward. After everything she endured, she's attempting growth. And that alone feels almost radical. But here's the bombshell. Michael Myers has been missing for 4 years. 4 years. After massacring half the town, he just disappears. No body, no sighting, no confirmed death. Which raises the question, if Michael isn't dead, what's stopping him? Unless he was in a coma somewhere, it's strange that he would just vanish after causing that level of devastation. But maybe that's the point. Michael may be gone, but the fear he left behind, that's still very much alive. The film makes it clear Haddonfield hasn't recovered, crime has risen, violence has escalated, self-destruction is up. Evil didn't disappear, it spread. After the events of the last 2 films, Laurie Strode, played once again by Jamie Lee Curtis, decides to put the past behind her. She buys a new house, she's living peacefully with her granddaughter, she's baking, she's writing a memoir, and I have to ask, how the hell is this supposed to make sense? 4 years have passed, Michael is missing, and this is the same woman who spent 40 years fortifying her home like a militia compound. Now she's playing house. Last movie was Evil Dies Tonight. This movie is Evil Pies Tonight. I don't care if it's a stupid joke. I run the fucking show. Now, to be fair, I understand what the film is trying to do. Laurie's fear has controlled her life for 4 decades. That fear alienated her daughter. It consumed her relationships. It ultimately led to more death and destruction. If she wants to protect the only family she has left, she can't keep living like she's at war. She has to let go. She has to evolve. And in that sense, I actually like this change. Somewhat. She's no longer the Sarah Connor archetype, the hardened warrior waiting for Judgment Day. She's choosing healing over paranoia. That's growth. But here's the conflict. This trilogy has been building toward confrontation, towards revenge, towards the inevitable final clash between Laurie and Michael Myers. So when she suddenly seems at peace while he's still unaccounted for, it feels off. Kind of almost like we skipped a chapter. Unless this calm is intentional. Unless Laurie isn't naive. Maybe setting aside her obsession isn't surrender. Maybe it's strategy. And that tension between growth and preparedness becomes one of the most interesting undercurrents of Halloween Ends. Corey heads to work at the Haddonfield salvage yard, run by his stepfather, Ron Jeremy. I mean Ronald, played by Rick Moose. Corey's trying to live a normal life. Clock in, fix cars, keep his head down. Ronald pulls him aside during his shift and surprises him with a motorcycle.
What do you think?
A genuinely nice gesture. But let's take a pause for a moment. Let me point something out. Corey is wearing a blue mechanic's jumper, and it looks strangely familiar, almost reminiscent of Michael Myers' fashion taste. Intentional? Absolutely. The visual language is already telling us something. Meanwhile, Allison is on her way to work at Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. After everything she's endured in Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, it's actually refreshing to see her choosing a path that helps people. Trauma didn't harden her, it redirected her. On the way, she's pulled over by Officer Doug Mullaney, played by Jesse C. Boyd.
You're under arrest for being the prettiest girl I know.
And this guy, ultimate creep energy immediately. He flirts, he lingers, he invades her space, then casually mentions her muffler is about to fall off.
Pulled you over because it looks like your muffler's about to fall off.
Real smooth, jackass. The camera then pans beneath the bridge. And this is where things get interesting. We meet a homeless man, referred to as Vagabond in the IMDb credits. And this man is played by Blake Fowler. In the book, he's named Nelson Christopher. Now, here's a cool little detail. Flip that name around. Nelson Christopher. And you get Christopher Nelson. And Christopher Nelson is the visual effects artist responsible for crafting the Michael Myers mask in this trilogy, and even recreating Dr. Loomis's prosthetic face. The camera slowly drifts toward an ominous sewer pipe, and then those soft piano notes begin. Corey stops at a gas station to grab, you guessed it, more chocolate milk. Man really loves his calcium. While he's inside, a group of high school marching band seniors roll up. We've got Terry Tramer, played by Michael Barbieri. And yes, that last name is intentional. A nod to Ben Tramer from the original timeline. This would be Ben Tramer's grandson. Stacy, played by Destiny Moan. Margot, played by Joey Harris. And Billy, played by Martin Estevez. They start harassing Corey to pressure him into buying them beer.
Hoping you could be a cool new friend, you know? Buy us a couple of six-packs.
He refuses. And because this is Haddonfield, where unresolved trauma apparently trickles down generationally, things escalate fast.
So where's your next victim? What the fuck?
And here's the key. The town hasn't forgiven Corey. They see him as the kid who killed a child, even if it was an accident. The stigma stuck. Enter Laurie Strode.
Hey, assholes!
And in a very punk rock fashion, she steps in to save the day.
So do you want to do it?
That'll teach those little bastards. It's a small moment, but it's telling. Laurie sees something in Corey. Not a monster. Not yet. But she sees what the town is doing to him. And whether she realizes it or not, this is the beginning of their connection. Laurie brings Corey to Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, where Allison works. And the moment these two lock eyes, Allison gives him the fuck me eyes. Yeah, I said it. And you can almost feel the movie positioning this as the new emotional anchor of the story. Enter Dr. Mathis, played by Michael O'Leary, the Halloween orgy aficionado himself. He begins removing glass fragments from Corey's hand and gives him a shot. Instead of handling it professionally, Mathis berates Allison like it's her fault.
What are you doing?
He storms out, conveniently leaving our two little lovebirds alone in what is supposed to be the grand finale of a Michael Myers trilogy. Corey offers to fix Allison's car.
I am at the shop tomorrow.
fix it now.
She cracks a joke.
Why can't the bicycle stand on its own? Because it was too tired.
You could take Mr. Peanut Butter off his penis out of the movie, but you can't remove the DNA from his kid. While Allison dusts off his jacket, Corey stares toward the looming radio tower over Haddonfield. The framing is deliberate. It hangs there like a beacon, like something is pulling him towards it, like steam from a cartoon pie dragging you across the room.
What kind of pie is this? Peter, it's making me watch.
The movie is telling us something. We then get a softer moment at the Strode house. Lori carving a pumpkin, Allison getting her tarot cards read by Lindsay Wallace. Then we cut to the Cunningham dinner from hell. Corey's mother, Joan, played by Joanne Barron. She's suffocatingly overbearing.
Who's that person you're texting?
She infantilizes him, speaks over him, controls the atmosphere. And can we take a moment to talk about the milk?
Boys who keep secrets don't get custard for dessert.
Spaghetti with milk? Really? Sauce smeared on the rim of the glass? Am I the only one who's physically disturbed by this? Who eats spaghetti with milk? Allison brings her car to the salvage yard so Corey can fix the muffler. Corey starts explaining how his motorcycle works.
Right hand is gas, also your front brake.
It almost feels like a coming-of-age romance instead of the final chapter of a slasher trilogy. And then Terry Tramer rolls up.
Terry? I'm sorry to bother you with this shit.
Terry brings the damaged car back in with his father, who is not thrilled about the punctured tire.
Fucking genius.
The way Terry's father talks to him, cold, dismissive, controlling, something about it tells me Ben Tramer did not break the generational curse. And honestly, after what happened to him in Halloween 2, maybe a fiery car explosion is deserved in this universe. We cut to a grocery store. Frank Hawkins is doing some light shopping. I mean, if that's what you want to call it. When Lori appears out of nowhere, like she's a part of a vegetable infomercial.
Have you ever heard of a vegetable?
There's something sweet about this interaction. Lori and Hawkins talking about healing, about moving forward.
I feel like I won an extra life.
These two have survived decades of horror, and they're still here, still trying. It's oddly comforting. But the town hasn't healed at all. As Lori leaves, we discover that Sandra, the woman brutally attacked by Michael in Halloween Kills, survived.
He killed her husband and he stabbed her.
She's now left voiceless and wheelchair bound, a living reminder of what happened. Her sister, played by Lila Wilson, makes it clear where she places the blame.
She cannot speak because of you.
You can see it spreading. The whispers, the resentment, the revisionist history. With Michael Myers gone, Haddonfield needs someone to aim its anger at. The boogeyman vanished, but fear doesn't. It finds a new target. And suddenly, Lori, who once warned the town, becomes the scapegoat. That's the real horror here. Not just a killer in a mask, but a community that eats its own. Allison and Corey are on their way to a Halloween party while the Willie the Kid radio station continues talking about Michael Myers, refusing to let Haddonfield put its blood-soaked past behind them in order to heal.
The real Michael Myers was murdered that night.
Which is rich, because nothing says healing like monetizing trauma over a late-night radio, profiting off the suffering of others while pretending it's civic concern. They arrive at the bar where the party is being held. Allison is dressed as a sexy cat, and Corey dons the plastic mask of a scarecrow. It's childlike but unsettling. It's eerily similar to Michael's clown mask from 1963. And that's deliberate. The film is visually telling you this is a parallel origin. Allison wanders off with her coworker while Corey drifts through the crowd. He bumps into Nick Castle, who proceeds to flash him.
Hey, Scarecrow. See anything you like?
Corey tilts his head, and you know exactly where I'm going with this. It's the same head tilt that Michael gives every single time. If things aren't clicking by now, the movie is practically screaming at you. They're drawing heavy parallels between Corey and Michael. Both have a tragic backstory. Both become social outcasts. Both gravitate toward mechanics jumpsuits. The head tilt, the vacant, almost soulless stare. Things are getting dangerously close at this point. It feels inevitable that Corey might end up turning killer very soon. We get a little dancing montage between Corey and Allison while Halloween by the Dead Kennedys plays. It feels reckless. Two damaged people pretending they're not damaged. Corey heads over to the bar to get a drink and runs straight into Teresa, Jeremy's mother, and she does not stay quiet.
You don't understand if you think you could come here and take off your little mask and have a good time with your friends.
Allison rushes out of the bar to calm Corey down. The scene echoes Halloween 2018 when Allison comforted Lori during her breakdown. Now Allison is trying to save someone else from drowning in trauma. But Corey knows what the town sees when they look at him.
Ask anyone. I'm the psycho babysitter. I'm the fucking kid killer.
And once Haddonfield decides who you are, that label never really comes off. Overwhelmed and cornered, Corey leaves Allison behind. And he's just one step closer to becoming exactly what the town already believes he is. Corey runs straight into those damned high schoolers again, because of course he does. They continue to harass him, mock him, circle him like vultures that smell weakness. The situation escalates fast, and Terry tosses Corey over the bridge.
Oh, shit!
And here's a deep cut fun fact. If you look closely in the background of this scene, there's a missing persons billboard with the name Megan Baxter. That name is most likely a reference to Dick Baxter, a mentioned character in Halloween 1978.
Well, you could ask Dick Baxter. He'd go out with you.
I'd rather go with Ben Tramer.
It's a small connective tissue detail, the kind longtime fans catch on a rewatch, but not all the time. Corey lies broken below the bridge, and then he gets dragged into the sewer pipe by an ominous figure. Obviously Michael Myers, and unfortunately not Mario offering Corey some spaghetti. Corey wakes up underground, surrounded by rats. As he stumbles towards the exit, Michael suddenly appears and grabs him by the throat. And then he stares lovingly into his eyes, gazing intensely, and Jesus Christ, they've turned my Halloween movie into a dark romance. We get a rapid montage of flashing images. Jeremy's death. Corey's trauma. When I first saw this, I had no idea what the fuck was happening or why Michael would just let him go. But after some deep diving, the intended implication becomes clearer. Michael sees something in Corey, a deep-seated evil. The same void, the same rage, the same trauma. Instead of killing him, he recognizes him. Some interpret this as Michael transferring his evil into Corey, like a parasitic infection. Others see it as Michael identifying a kindred spirit, turning Corey into a protege rather than a victim. Either way, it's jarring. It feels wildly out of character for Michael to let someone go, let alone collaborate. And this is where the trilogy's identity crisis really shows. Is Michael supernatural, or is he just human? David Gordon Green has stated that Michael isn't supernatural. He's simply extremely resilient, a man who can take an inhuman amount of damage. But after the absolute ass whooping he received in Halloween Kills, he should be dead. I can suspend disbelief for him getting shot 6 times and standing back up. But this, you're pushing it. You're pushing it, Mr. Green. The writing keeps pulling back and forth between mythic evil incarnate and broken old man in a mask. It wants him to be the shape, but it also wants him grounded. And it never fully commits to either, which makes moments like this feel confused instead of profound. Honestly, the trilogy as a whole starts to feel unnecessary at this point. You could have made one strong sequel to 1978 and left it there. Instead, after 4 in-universe years since Halloween Night 2018, it's officially implied that Michael has been hiding in the sewers. Although it's never clearly stated in this movie, the Myers house was apparently destroyed, leaving him with nowhere to go. We don't see it happen, it's barely addressed, and that lack of clarity leaves the audience wondering why the boogeyman is suddenly living like a displaced sewer cryptid. The idea that Michael Myers has spent 4 years hiding underground, essentially hanging out with the Ninja Turtles, and surviving off of Master Splinter's extended family is a choice, if you want to call it that, but it's a bold choice. But maybe not the one this trilogy needs. Corey climbs out of the sewer pipe, only to get hit with a full-on homeless man on the shoulder moment.
You see that man in there?
The drifter pulls a knife on him and demands that Corey retrieve Michael Myers' mask. But this time, Corey doesn't freeze. He doesn't get bullied. He snaps. And just like that, the line has been crossed. Corey walks home in a daze, passing his overbearing mother without saying a word. He locks himself in the bathroom and stares into the mirror. Long, still, studying himself, just like Michael would. This is the visual confirmation of transformation. The reflection isn't just a reflection anymore. It's acceptance. The mask may not be on yet, but it's coming. Meanwhile, Lori continues writing her memoir when she hears the roar of Corey's motorcycle outside. She looks through the window, and there he is, standing next to a bush. Looks like Lori isn't the only one stealing Michael's moves. Lori heads outside, and Corey is gone, until she gets her own Corey on the shoulder moment. The camera lingers on Lori's face. You can see it. Recognition. Fear. The realization that the same evil she's been fighting her whole life may have found a new host. Not transferred, not magically implanted, but reborn. Allison takes a walk with Corey, and the two break into the abandoned Allen house. Corey recounts that night.
We were making paper planes, but he wanted to watch a monster movie.
Meanwhile, Lori pays a visit to Mrs. Overbearing herself to talk about Corey dating her granddaughter. And Joan wastes no time. She blames Lori.
This town turned against him after the accident with Jeremy Allen. But because your boogeyman disappeared, they needed a new one.
Another Haddonfield resident pointing the finger at Lori. At this point, honestly, I'd move. Start fresh. Let Haddonfield cannibalize itself without me. 2 more points added to the stupidity scale for the citizens of this town. Later, Allison and Corey go out to dinner and share a genuine heart-to-heart moment. For a second, it almost feels normal. Hopeful. Like maybe Corey doesn't have to become what everyone expects. Until Officer Doug walks in.
Hey, twice in 1 week.
And the mood shifts instantly. Doug realizes exactly who Allison is sitting with.
So you call Mr. Aggravated manslaughter at night when you can't sleep.
And just like every other confrontation in this movie, things start heating up. Corey drops Allison off for the night. On his way home, we realize he's being followed, and Corey knows it too. Instead of panicking, he leads whoever it is back underneath the bridge, back to the scene of his humiliation. Doug steps out of his car and quickly discovers Nelson's body. Before he can fully process it, Corey gets the drop on him and bolts for the sewers. Doug follows, flashlight in hand. Down in the tunnels, he shines his light onto something strange. A cement face embedded in the wall. The movie never explains what this is. Supposedly, it's meant to represent Michael's fixation with staring at his own reflection. He doesn't have Judith's bedroom window anymore, so this cracked concrete face is the next best thing, I guess. Doug stares at it, completely unaware that he's not alone. He turns. Corey is standing there, and that's when Michael gets the jump on Doug. Michael isn't the unstoppable shape anymore. He's a frail husk, weakened. Slow. It's easy for Doug to fight him off. Corey jumps in like he's part of a tag team duo in a wrestling match and smashes Doug in the head with a flashlight. Watch out. Then we get one of the strangest lines in the entire trilogy.
Show me how to do it.
Dude, you already killed Nelson. I really don't think you need a tutorial. Then Corey starts yelling at Michael to get up. Like this is Rocky and he's trying to motivate an aging prize fighter.
Get up, you son of a bitch!
Michael pulls his rusty old knife from the crack in the wall and hobbles toward Doug like Igor auditioning for a slasher reboot while Corey restrains him. Michael slices Doug's neck wide open. before stabbing him repeatedly. And then something bizarre happens. Michael begins to convulse, tremble, almost like he's ejaculating his coveralls.
I am going to commit great crime. I'm going to bust nut.
The implication seems to be that he's regaining his strength, feeding, recharging. I guess this is supposed to show Michael reclaiming his power through killing. But if that's the case, he would have been leaving baby gravy all over that gas station in Halloween 2018. The logic just doesn't track. This moment is clearly trying to connect back to Laurie's monologue at the end of Halloween Kills, where she talks about Michael transcending every time he takes a life. But how would she even know that? Did she conduct a Myers case study off screen? And if murder equals transcendence, if killing restores him, then why the hell is he living in a sewer in a weakened state after stacking a body count worth of 50? Shouldn't he be operating at peak shape performance? The mythology keeps wobbling. Is he human? Is he supernatural? Is he powered by violence? Or is he just an elderly tank with absurd durability? The script refuses to pick a lane. And when you don't commit to the rules of your monster, the monster stops feeling mythic and starts feeling inconsistent. Michael's lore in this trilogy becomes a grab bag of ideas. Something interesting, none fully realized. One minute he's evil incarnate, the next, he's a sewer recluse needing motivational coaching. And that tonal whiplash is what makes this section feel more confusing than profound. Corey heads over to Allison's house, totally not acting like a walking red flag.
What's going on?
Laurie pulls into the driveway just in time to see Allison dragging Corey upstairs for some late night extracurricular activities. The setup is very reminiscent of the opening of Halloween 1978, except Corey doesn't finish in 2 seconds. As Laurie watches from the window, Michael watches Laurie from behind a tree. And you're watching me from behind a screen. Layers. Laurie, understandably unsettled, heads to the bar to talk to Lindsay about Corey. Lindsay introduces her to Roger Allen.
There's someone I want you to meet.
He recounts the last time he ran into Corey.
And then yesterday I'm on my way to work, there he is. And I pull up next to him, and he looks at me, and it's not him. At least not in the eyes.
And then poses the central question this movie keeps circling. Did the town turn Corey into a monster? Or is the evil always there, lying dormant, just waiting for a push? It's the classic nature versus nurture debate. And to be fair, this is one of the more interesting ideas the film tries to tackle. Shut the fuck up. Meanwhile, Dr. Mathis takes his favorite nurse, Deb, home for what can only be described as promotional sex. I guess you could say she works hard for the money. Deb heads to the shower while Dr. Mathis explores a different kind of penetration.
Gay!
Deb hears a noise and heads outside to investigate. She flips on the light and discovers Corey screwing Dr. Mathis. Not like that. Deb runs back inside and locks the door before Corey can grab her. Smart move. She calls 911. Also smart. But then, when the operator answers, she doesn't respond. Not smart. Michael bursts through the closet door and gives Deb the good old Bob treatment. At this point, Deb has officially become a Halloween pinup girl. This section is actually interesting structurally. Corey gets the flashy, sadistic kill. Michael gets the classic, iconic kill. The student improvises. The master sticks to tradition. And for a brief moment, the movie almost feels confident about what it's doing. Almost. Corey and Allison drive over to the radio station and climb up to sit on the roof while Burn It Down by Boy Harsher plays in the background. Corey explains the significance of the tower. It's not supernatural. It's not a signal. It's not some cursed beacon pulling evil toward it like fans speculated before release. It's symbolic. To Corey, it represents comfort, escape, a place above the noise of the town, a beacon of hope and healing in a place that refuses to let him move on. Corey suddenly jumps off the roof.
Corey, what are you...
He lands flat on his back, and then he gives us the good old classic Myers sit-up. Willie the kid, played by Karan Harris, comes outside to see what the commotion is about. He starts provoking Corey and Allison,
Corey Cunningham, what you doing out here, you ugly motherfucker?
running his mouth like he's done the entire movie. Let's be honest. Willie has been gasoline on the fire this whole time, spreading rumors about Laurie Strode,
Y'all know the Laurie Strode story? She teased a man with brain damage and then he snapped.
profiting off the trauma of Haddonfield. He keeps Michael's legend alive every night over the airwaves. If fear is a virus in this town, Willie is the broadcast tower. Allison finally agrees to leave Haddonfield with Corey.
I don't want to be in Haddonfield anymore.
Laurie watches from a distance, clearly disapproving. Corey heads home, where his mother is losing her mind over him spending time with a girl.
She's trying to take you away from me, isn't she?
And then she starts doing some extremely questionable, emotionally manipulative, borderline incest-coded behavior that would make Oedipus blush.
Oh no, no.
At this point, we're checking off every single killer origin trope imaginable. Overbearing mother, social rejection, public humiliation, repressed rage, bingo card complete. And now it's officially October 31st, which means for the first hour and 10 minutes, we've been watching a movie called Halloween that doesn't actually take place on Halloween. We cut to Corey sleeping in the abandoned Allen house, right on top of Jeremy's old bloodstain. Honestly, that's fucking creepy, dude. And that cannot be good for your lumbar support. Laurie is waiting for him when he wakes up. She tells him she wants to get him help, but he is no longer allowed to see Allison.
Allison is not equipped for this relationship, and I will not let her get hurt.
And Corey does not take this well.
You started this! You brought me in! You invited me!
Laurie then pulls her classic vanishing act, leaving Corey alone with his spiraling thoughts. Corey calls Allison in a panic, insisting they need to leave Haddonfield immediately. And here's where he crosses another line. He lies to her about Laurie. He plants doubt. He wedges himself between granddaughter and grandmother.
You need to talk about your grandmother. She wants to kill me.
Which, if we're being honest, is what he's been doing this entire time. Corey then heads back to the sewers. No more scarecrow mask. That was for babies. He wants the real thing. During the struggle, Corey overpowers Michael and rips the mask right off his face. This is where the movie completely lost me. After two previous films spent establishing Michael as an unstoppable mythical force of nature, you're going to let a guy who got bullied by high schoolers overpower him? After years of buildup, after reinforcing him as the shape, this is the moment where all that tension deflates. They didn't humanize Michael, they diminished him. Instead of making Corey feel powerful, it makes Michael feel pathetic. And that undercut is hard to come back from. Terry and his gang of bully friends exit the gas station and discover that Corey has left them a little souvenir. A one-worded message etched into Terry's car. Naturally, they take the bait and they chase after him. Meanwhile, Allison starts packing to leave town. Laurie confronts her, trying to convince her that Corey is on a dark path.
I see the same thing in him that I saw in Michael.
But Allison isn't hearing it. To her, this just sounds like Laurie slipping back into her obsession, still haunted, still chasing a boogeyman. She blames Laurie for the death of her parents, for the chaos, for everyone they've lost.
Because of the hysteria that you caused, my friends are dead. My parents are dead.
Corey leads the high schoolers to his place of work, the junkyard. They find his motorcycle and start messing with it. Terry notices that Billy is being awfully quiet.
Come on, Billy, let's get this punk.
We never hear him scream, so I guess you could say he didn't see Corey coming.
Oh my God!
The panic starts to set in. Then, the tow truck engine roars to life. Stacy and Margot make a run for the fence. Stacy manages to climb over it, but Margot isn't so lucky. If I were in her shoes, I'd be weaving between the stacked cars looking for another exit. I'm not running in a straight line in a junkyard while someone's driving a tow truck at me. Ron hears the chaos from inside his office and takes off his headphones. And he gets rewarded with a terrified Terry jump scare. Stacy runs back to help Margot, which is noble, but wildly impractical. I would have sprinted to the nearest house and called 911. Actually, wait. It's modern day. Everyone has smartphones. So why is no one calling for help? That makes sense, people. Stacy ends up dying off screen via monkey wrench to the face. Ron hands Terry a rifle, which is honestly a terrible idea, and at that point, you should also be calling 911, Ron, and not giving a high schooler a gun. The bad decision making is so consistent, it almost feels like tradition. Ron heads outside to help Margot. And how many times are people going to approach Margot just to immediately die? Seriously. Ron looks up and sees Corey unmasked. Terry takes aim, and Ron tries to stop him. Then, because we apparently need to complete the cycle, Terry goes back to help Margot. Cue some awkward dialogue.
Stacy's dead. You're dead too. What the fuck?
And cue a gore-tastic blowtorch to the mouth kill. Corey finishes Margot off and drives away, leaving the junkyard soaked in gasoline, blood, and poor decision making. He returns home and finally puts an end to his overbearing mother off screen. And I'm not gonna lie, that one's disappointing. After all that buildup, after the emotional manipulation and psychological suffocation, I wanted to see her get her just desserts. And I'm not talking about custard. We cut to Willie the Kid's radio station. He's on air when an angry caller tears into him, calling him out for exploiting the murders happening in Haddonfield. For profiting off of fear, for keeping the town locked in its trauma. The caller even drops a subtle nod to Michael's obsession with staring at his own reflection. A clever little thematic wink in the middle of all of the chaos. Then, Corey enters the building and is greeted by the receptionist, played by the drop-dead gorgeous Diana Prince. And oh boy, does she drop dead. Corey moves down the hallway, and what follows is one of the most brutal kills in the movie. The serpent finally stops speaking. Not so talkative now, are you, buddy? It's heavy-handed, but effective. Allison waits at the diner for Corey to show up. She gets a call from Lori and ignores it. Also, wouldn't her contact name be Grandma now? Do you really not like your grandma that much? I'm sorry, I just find that weird. With no answer from Allison, Lori heads upstairs at home, bottle of booze in hand, and calls 911.
Yes, I would like to report a suicide.
Corey watches from the doorway as Laurie Strode ends it all. I'm just kidding. It's a trap. She goads Corey into killing her.
You came here to kill me, so do it.
Then they hear Allison pull into the driveway, and Corey makes one final manipulative move.
If I can't have her.
And like an idiot, Lori panics and immediately pulls the knife out, which is absolutely the worst possible thing you could do in this situation. Allison walks in, sees Lori standing over a bleeding Corey, knife in hand.
What did you do to him?
Girl, how are you not connecting the dots? He's been spiraling. He's wearing the jumpsuit. He has Michael's mask. He claimed Lori was trying to kill him, so instead of avoiding her, he just goes straight back to her house. The math is not mathing. Lori hears a gust of wind. The back door is wide open. Lori, you, of all people, leaving the door unlocked after 4 decades of paranoia? You should be ashamed of yourself. Michael makes his grand entrance. He retrieves his mask and finishes Corey off. And just like that, the entire passing of the torch subplot evaporates. After all that buildup, after positioning Corey as the next shape, after suggesting evil can transfer, evolve, spread, he's gone. What was the point? Why introduce a brand new character in the final chapter of a trilogy? Build him up as a successor, and then discard him in the last 20 minutes. It feels less like a bold subversion and more like narrative whiplash. I guess, in a literal sense, this is nature versus nurture. Corey was molded, pushed, rejected, But in the end, nature wins. The original shape reclaims the throne, and the experiment is over. Laurie finally locks the door, which is completely ass backwards considering the killer is already in the house. Allison, meanwhile, stops in the middle of the road and sees the radio tower engulfed in flames, a burning monument to Corey's spiral. Then she gets a call from Hawkins.
Allison, where's Laurie? We're responding to a call. She called in a suicide.
Back at the house, Laurie hides in the pantry as Michael stalks towards her. He gets distracted by food exploding in the microwave. So, let me get this straight. Michael didn't hear Laurie toss a frozen lasagna into the microwave? Didn't hear the beeping? The plate clinking? Nothing? What kind of cinematic fuckery is this? Unless Laurie somehow predicted the exact second Michael would enter the kitchen and devised a perfectly timed reheated distraction plan. Laurie bursts out swinging a fire extinguisher and disarms him. And finally, the showdown we've all been waiting for. Michael absolutely ragdolls her at first. Laurie takes some brutal hits before he decides to stick her hand into the garbage disposal. Before she loses a few fingers, she breaks free, only to get launched over the kitchen table. And I can't help but ask, where was this version of Michael Myers when Corey wrestled the mask from him in the sewer? Because this guy is an absolute tank. The writing is scrambled eggs at this point. We're not having breakfast.
I want breakfast.
Kitchen's closed. Laurie reaches for the classic knitting needle callback, but Michael's learned. He reverses it and jams the needle into her ear. She grabs the mask, and Michael calls for a timeout. Laurie grabs his knife and pins his hand to the kitchen table. Then she grabs another knife and buries it in his chest. But he's not done. So she stabs his other hand into the table, then uses the fridge to pin his leg. Michael Myers is immobilized, helpless, wriggling. Laurie grabs one final knife. She holds it up so he could see his reflection in the blade one last time. A final confrontation between the man and the mask. Then she drives it into his side and yanks it free as blood spills across the table. She removes the mask, monologuing.
I've run from you. I have chased you. I have tried to contain you.
And slices his throat. That should be it. Roll credits. But no. This motherfucker is still going. Just die already, dude. Jesus fucking Christ. We get flashes of 78 and 2018. It's big, it's operatic, it's trying very hard to feel final. Allison bursts in the nick of time and snaps Michael's arm like it's a Slim Jim. Laurie holds Michael's hand as he fades away. Hawkins and the Haddonfield Sheriff's Department finally show up. Where the fuck have you guys been? You were called before Allison. How did she beat you there? Make it make sense. What were you guys doing this entire time? With Michael finally dead, they decide this is not enough.
Michael.
He's dead. Not dead enough.
They strap his corpse to the roof of the car and parade him through Haddonfield.
This is not how it works.
It is tonight.
It's less police procedure and more medieval procession. The whole town follows behind like it's a funeral or a sacrifice. They crowd surf his body toward an industrial shredder. Allison flips the switch and Laurie pushes him in. And Michael Myers is reduced to gore and scrap metal. The shape shredded. The town can finally heal. I remember sitting there thinking, he's going to grab her at the very last minute. He's gonna pull Laurie in with him. And honestly, that might have made all the nonsensical chaos worth it. I can never say no to a bleak ending. No healing. Fuck it. The town of Haddonfield doesn't deserve it. You don't lock your doors. You blame everybody once your boogeyman disappears. Fuck this cesspit. But unfortunately, Michael stays dead. For now. Because let's be real, Hollywood is full of necromancers with no original ideas. This franchise will be rebooted again someday. So maybe this isn't the end of Michael Myers, but is definitely the end of the Strode story. Laurie and Hawkins sit on her front steps, talking about taking a trip to Japan. The camera drifts through the house, empty rooms, lingering silence, a direct echo of 1978. The final shot rests on Michael's mask, sitting on the table. We cut to black, and Don't Fear the Reaper by the Blue Oyster Cult plays us out. And just like that, Halloween ends.
Completely different fucking background and everything. I don't typically record these types of videos on my phone, but since I am currently packing and getting pretty close to moving time, most of my recording equipment is put away. And I just so happened to finish cutting the rest of this episode on the computer, and I forgot to record the final half of this video, the review, my final thoughts. That's the whole entire point of these fucking videos, right? So we're doing it in my car, on my phone. So, Halloween Ends. Is it really necessary? Did we really need 2 more movies after Halloween 2018? The short answer, no! Halloween 2018 had a perfect conclusion. Laurie Strode finished Michael Myers off by setting her little cockamamie scheme trap that Michael Myers got caught up in and set the entire fucking house on fire. What? Since the first movie did so fucking good, they just had to go and make 2 more movies. And it's a hodgepodge of different ideas that are thrown on the wall like a plate of spaghetti until something sticks. Halloween End Season of the Corey is essentially what this is. I could see this trilogy being something worth watching if we were to establish Corey Cunningham as a character at the very beginning and slowly build our way to him becoming what he's supposed to become by Halloween Ends. I could see this movie working. I could see this movie being somewhat digestible. I just feel like this movie is a complete mess. There's too much going on. And the entire trilogy overall, there's too much going on. Halloween Kills doesn't really do anything to connect within the story. Laurie Strode gets sidelined. The entire point of these movies was to conclude the Laurie Strode versus Michael Myers story arc. That's what we were supposed to get. That's what they said they were giving us. And instead, they give us a bunch of gobbledygook. Halloween 2018, as a trilogy as a whole, it is everywhere. It is a complete fucking mess. And it's really disappointing. I don't care for this whole dynamic between Allison and Corey being a thing. It just feels out of left hand. And she just knows how to pick men, apparently, because she was with Doug. And now she's with Corey, Mr. Homicide. At that point, I'd say stop dating. You don't have good judgment. The intro is intense. Watching a kid fall to his death was really fucking intense. Overall, there's some interesting ideas, but they really don't stick with their guns, and it's very unfortunate. That being said, I don't think that this movie was warranted at all, and the aspect that we were supposed to be getting a Laurie Strode versus Michael Myers fight, which we do get at the very end, but the way that we had those teaser trailers and stuff, which I tend to avoid, but I was too excited, they played it out to be like that's what we were exactly going to get the entire movie. And just so happens that no, we spend the majority of the fucking movie with a character who's never been in the previous 2 movies, even though this is supposed to be a trilogy, gets into a romance situation and then just goes completely berserk. And it just doesn't feel like Halloween. So this movie sucks. And for those of you who like the movie, I'm not going to rag on you because I know there's someone out there that hates a movie that I absolutely adore and love. It is what it is. One of my faithful followers, Brandon, said it himself, I'd rather have these movies than not. And I agree, because this was the very first Halloween series that I actually got to see on the big screen for the very first time. I was too young to see all the other Halloween movies on the big screen. So I got my chance to see Michael Myers stalking and killing. So overall, I think that Halloween 2018 is a somewhat solid iteration, a somewhat solid sequel, although there are a little bit of cracks within the story component overall with the writing and stuff and the character twists. Dr. Sartain being super unnecessary. We've already went all over that. Halloween Kills was fun, very unnecessary, but just a fun slasher movie to watch stupid fucking characters get murdered. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for commenting, and subscribing to the channel. All of that means the world to me. You have no idea.